Hi there, everybody. How are you today? And hello, God. God, what are you doing today? What are you working on? Are you pleased with it? Is it going as you want it to go? It must be beautiful. It must be enormous. It must be very gratifying. You know, folks, I don't think when you pray, talk to God, that we should be talking about ourselves. That seems to be the run. You know, God give us this, God give us that, God do this, God help her, God heal so-and-so. I don't know as we should do that, because after all, God is running the universe. And God has run the universe for 14.7 billion years, and God really doesn't need our advice. The sun goes down at night. It comes up in the morning. We have the seasons. Right now we're in fall, the second month of fall. I really think God knows what God is doing. And God made this beautiful planet. That took 5 billion years. And yeah, okay, well, what's the next thing you say? Well, thank you, God, for this there. That's nice to be excited about it, to be appreciated, to appreciate it. Yeah. I have real problem with petition prayer. I cannot bring myself to ask God for anything, because God has supplied us so abundantly. This overflowing fullness, this ample sufficiency, this opulence. I just can't ask God for anything else. And another thing, if somebody is sick, well, God knows what's going on. God knows why that person is sick, and that person is sick, and what it will take to heal that person. God needs us to say? These are far out, I guess, and they're probably very unpopular. Well, then what do you pray? Well, I have this feeling that we all hold hands, one another, and enjoy the great joy, and enjoy the beauty, the happiness that God has given us. That's all. Just hold hands one another, realize our oneness, and just enjoy the greatness God gives us. I think that's what it's all about. You know, I've said to you before, all a person wants is to be happy. Let me rescind that. All a person wants is to be loved. All anybody wants is to be loved. He wants to be loved by somebody. He, she wants to be loved by somebody. That's all a person wants, is to be loved by somebody. Plus, to have somebody to love. Churches, I don't think you're going to make it. With all this tradition, and with all of this what you do every Sunday, it isn't what a person is looking for when a person comes to a church. What a person is looking for is for somebody to love that person, and for that person to love somebody. I don't know. I was thinking that the only way to save the church is small groups. 5 or 6 people. Hi, how are you? Come in, sit down, let's talk. What's on your mind? What would you like to accomplish? What was the nicest thing that happened to you in the past? What are you looking forward to in the future? How do you feel about God? Can you feel God's oneness? Does anybody love you? Is there anybody you love? Can we help you with being selfless? You want to go out and have a drink of water is about all I do, or a drink of fruit juice. I don't drink coffee or tea. So what was I saying? I heard a teenager say once, I keep talking until I find out what I'm talking about. I was talking about loved and being loved and loving somebody. The Seventh-day Adventist Church is going to have a wellness Sabbath on November the 23rd, 2013. And at 11:15, they're going to have Mental Health and Spirituality by Dr. Payne. It's a great name for a doctor. And then they will have their fellowship meal, which will be vegetarian. And at 2 o'clock, they're going to have health benefits of a positive outlook. Ah, that's a good thing about our talks on happiness, isn't it? The positive health outlook is conducive to good health. 85 years old and no doctors. What? 85 years old and no doctors. At 3:30, they're going to have health screening, blood pressure, asthma screening, body mass index. And at 5 o'clock, they're going to have a vegetarian cooking class. Good for you, Seventh-day Adventists. Good for you. And they're doing so well, folks, they're building their own church. Most of the churches I know are crumbling, but they're building a new church. This, I'm waiting for. Will I ever see it? Isaiah 11, verse 6. The wolf shall dwell with the lamb. The leopard shall lie down with the young goat. The calf and the young lion together. The cow and the bear shall graze. And the lion shall eat straw like the cow. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all of my holy mountain. Why? Because the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 6. Karen Beasley, who was a public access administrator in Public Access D in Washington, D.C., she is still violating the United States Code. Specifically, Title 47, the United States Code, Section 521 et sequitur, which states very clearly that nobody, cable casting, public access, shall exercise editorial control over public access. We thank DCTV for cable casting of public access and all of the other stations across the country. It is a great privilege. It is an allodium. It happens without payment or service or enslavement to anybody. It's free, it's public access TV, and it's American through and through. Nobody can exercise editorial control over it. Karen Beasley has done this repeatedly. She's in grave danger of being sued for violating the United States Code, and all of the people who work with her, the whole TV station. They were sued once before, $17,000 I believe it cost them just in legal fees to get out of it. You do not exercise editorial control over public access television. It is free speech. Only 3 things are not constitutionally protected, and they are nudity, indecency, and obscenity. And none of that has ever happened on A Chat with Glendora. Those are the only 3 things you can exercise censorship. Highest level, perfect representative, one with God, pure thought, no negative, second level, trivial, ugly thought. Work up to date, on schedule, 2 hours alone and empty, and all the present blessings continue. The universe, born, alive, healthy, food, clothing, a home, freedom, independence, no catastrophes, finances, education, careers, spouses, family. And all the present blessings continue. Report on the TV stations. I believe Frank Burns and San Antonio are doing fine thanks to Jeannie Brownie. San Jose is very, very cooperative. Thank you, Joyce, for sponsoring A Chat with Glendora in San Jose for this whole year. And Tom Nishikawa is going to look for a sponsor for next year. San Francisco, thank you, Jeff Matsuoka, for sponsoring A Chat with Glendora in San Francisco. I would like to hear from you. I would like to have you watch the program and tell me how it's going, audio, video, and content. That's 3 TV stations. Highland Park, that's right outside of Chicago, north of Chicago. You are doing a grandiose endeavor in making a public access organization that goes around and interviews public access producers and videos them setting up their program, doing their program, striking it, and getting it onto the TV. That is a noble endeavor. The warnings that your lawyer has put at the top of the agreement you want us to sign is unacceptable. It's dehumanized. It's a shock to anybody's public access spirit of freedom. I will not sign that. But I will give you carte blanche to do whatever you want with A Chat with Glendora. I trust you. I trust that you will do it right, and you will do it in behalf of public access television. But I will not sign that paper. For all the saints who from their labors rest, who thou by faith before the world confessed, thy name, O Jesus, be forever blessed. Alleluia, alleluia. Folks, where were you 10 years ago? Where were you 10 years ago? Where do you want to be 10 years from now? November 2013, November 2023. Where were you 2003. Are you happy? Larchmont Mamaroneck Community TV. Thank you so much for going on with the spirit of public access and giving out awards and encouraging it and forwarding it and preserving it. And thank you for your thanks for the tiny, minuscule $10 that you were sent. Or was it 20? No, Glendora, it was 10. Oh. Sorry. Should have been 20. This month it could be 20. Here's a funny story. A young man from college emailed his dad, "Dad, I joined the drama club. I already have a part in a play. I'm playing the part of a man who's been married 30 years. And his dad emailed him back and said, "Good son, I hope in your next play you get a speaking part." Let me see if I can find some jokes for you. DotCom, are you lying on the jokes? No? Oh, all right. Well, let's dig deep in the drawer. We can tell you about the man who was worried about his fourth daughter getting married. The first daughter married a man from Singleton, New Hampshire, and they had one child. And the second daughter married a man from Twin Oaks, Missouri, and they had 2 children. Third daughter married a man from Three Rivers, Pennsylvania, and they had 3 children. Well, why are you worried about your fourth daughter getting married? She's going with a fellow from the Thousand Islands. You need more water, Dot? Here, this is your cup. Gannett, USA Today. Lenny's cup is the NBC cup. A man is walking down the street carrying a darling Cocker Spaniel in his arms, and he meets his friend, and he says to his friend, "What do you think of this Cocker Spaniel I got from my wife?" And his friend says, "That's not a bad trade." Doug and Joan are the perfect couple. He's a hypochondriac and she's a pill. And the accountant was so good at doing what he did that the American Society of Accountants named a loophole after him. And it's getting more and more difficult to support New York State in the custom it has become accustomed to. The famous author was asked, "What do you consider your greatest work of fiction?" And he said, "My income tax form." And Ed was congratulated by his boss for filling out his income tax form honestly, because he put down how much of his income was unearned. And income tax time is the time that poor people wish they were rich, because the rich don't have to pay taxes. 60 million income tax forms are filed every year, and that does not count the ones that are chiseled. And who has any money left over after income tax time? H&R Block. And it's hard to believe that our country was founded as a protest against taxes. These teenagers got married so young that half of their wedding presents were manufactured by Mattel. And did you hear about the family that was so rich they bought a boy for the dog? And the undertaker who signed all of his letters, eventually yours. And the picketer who was carrying a sign that said, "Time heals all wounds." And the picketer behind him carried a sign that said, "Time and a half heals them faster." What about a chat with Glendora on the YouTube? I don't know what its value is. Well, I do know what its value is. With all of its difficulties and poor work and mistakes and everything, it does do this. It does present a record of the universe in this time period, in this geographical location. It is a record. A record we hope that will be seen in the future. A record that goes all the way around the world. It goes back to that oneness again. For this particular spot in the universe, in this oneness, at this particular time, there is a record. And the best possible record that God has developed so far as we know, at least on this planet. And that record is video. Immediacy, picture, motion, the dynamic, color, and sound. So that's what you could say for a chat with Glendora on the YouTube, where there's 10,520 programs, I believe. Oh no, there aren't. There's 10,520 a chat with Glendora programs, which started in 1972, 41 years ago. But I think there's only 5,500 of them on the YouTube. Okay. Do you have anything to say? If you do, I am very interested in hearing it. And for all you other TV stations, there's a telephone number on the screen, but not in San Antonio. Mr. Burns does not want a telephone number on the screen. Although, one must have slipped by him, because somebody did call me from San Antonio and said, "Glendora, I love your show, I love your show, I want the magazine on vegan." Thank you. That's good. And thank you again, Jeannie Browning. Spirit of God, descend upon his heart. Wean it from earth, through all its pulses move. Stoop to his weakness, mighty as thou art, and make him love thee as he ought to love. American Vegan Society. Ahimsa lights the way. Here's big news. The University of Northern Texas is the first major U.S. university to implement an all-vegan dining hall. Executive Director of the University of North Texas, Director of Dining Services, Bill McNeese, declares the decision to create a vegan cafeteria is one of the best decisions I've made in over 25 years of working in higher education food service. While many universities have Meatless Monday or a vegetarian bar, University of North Texas is leading the nation to make vegan options the norm on university campuses. Ahimsa, the compassionate way. Ahimsa is a Sanskrit term meaning non-killing, non-injuring, non-harming. American Vegan Society defines it in daily life as dynamic harmlessness, spelled out at the right. Dynamic harmlessness. Ahimsa, A-H-I-M-S-A. Abstinence from animal products. Harmlessness with reverence. Integrity of thought, word. Mastery over oneself. Service to humanity, nature. And what? Creation. Advancement of understanding. And truth. American Vegan. Want to see what they have for books for Christmas presents? Quick and easy. The 4-ingredient vegan. Healthy, hearty helpings. For animal lovers, the lucky ones, Peaceable Kingdom, simple recipes for kids, buy any greens necessary, forks over knives, gluten-free vegan cooking, the vegan kitchen, artisan vegan cheese. Yeah. Tim Owen told me how he made vegan cheese.